Absolutely. So the Godwinns, we haven't
Yeah.
talked about them much on the show. Kind of the unsung heroes of the tag division for the middle of the WWF in the 90s. But I mean, they were there for a long time, and for whatever reason, Vince loves the hillbilly characters. He's had them forever and ever. What were those guys like in real life? Did you enjoy working with
I
them?
did. I liked both those guys, Mark Canterbury and Dennis Knight, and really enjoyed them when they were the Tex Slazenger and
Shanghai Pierce.
Yeah, Shanghai Pierce, right? Good guys. And there's a photo I posted a few months ago, probably back in February, of my son's Dewey's first birthday party. And the wrestling contingent that was there was Ravishing Rick Rude. Always surprised people that Rick and I were such good friends.
Yeah.
Ravishing Rick Rude, Van Hammer, which also surprised people, and Shanghai and Tex. Like, I really liked those guys to the point where I brought Tex over to Japan with me when they needed like another like killer American. So they brought him over as Tarzan Goto's brother-in-law. And I remember Phineas or Dennis saying like, yeah, I said to the crowd, I'm his brother-in-law. One of the magazine guys goes, I know, I gave them the idea. So, trying to be kayfabe, but over there, you know, the writers had a say, like
Right.
those type of things. But I liked it. They were both real solid guys. You know, Phineas, Henry, Mark Canterbury worked a real physical, old school heel style, and Shanghai or Dennis Knight reminds me of when I was, you know, getting a little bit of a push in WCW in 1990. That he said, "Can I take one of your bumps?" I said, "What do you have in mind?" And so he was a big guy, 6'6", he was around 270, and I gave him the slingshot, and he took the bump over the top rope to the outside, which was a heck of a bump for that time period. If you do it right, it's still a heck of a bump. So I like those guys. I was never a fan of the names that were puns or the names that spelled out. Hog, Henry O. Godwin, Phineas I. Godwin, you know, Hog and Pig. With that being said, I was not a fan of Decatur, Illinois, either, with the drill, Isaac Yankum, like the plays on words. Not that a few of them didn't work here and there, but I did enjoy working with those guys.
The premium live events, as they're now called, are not like they were back then, but this is the first show in New Jersey in almost 10 years. So there's a lot of hype around it, a lot of media. They're even going to have the governor there.
And this goes back probably to when Vince did not want to pay the
taxes.
Yes. And that had a lot to do with Vince.
The Athletic Commission versus this is sports entertainment. Yeah.
And that was thought to be, it's going to be the death knell for professional wrestling. And now you look back and see how fortunate we were to have portrayed it as sports entertainment. Otherwise, I believe we would have just been rolled by UFC once people saw, you can't do an Irish whip in combat. This is what it is. But we had already, I think, by Vince making that declaration, which I hated, right? Because I wanted to bring realism into my matches, and I wanted people to have that reaction that I love to have, which is, okay, maybe the rest of that wrestling is this, but this is different. Like, you still want, you were still able to do that from time to time, but by declaring it sports entertainment over the next few years, what it allowed fans to do was accept it for what it was instead of knocking it for what it wasn't. So in the old days, you'd get that, hey, is that wrestling phony? You get it all the time. And that stopped being the comment to the point where when you did get it every once in a while, it just seemed ridiculous that somebody was still coming at you with that vantage point, especially when I went to India and they all wanted to know, like, is wrestling real? You're like, you guys worship the great Khali. Have you seen his body of work? Like, This is an expo. I hope the big guy's not listening, but it was pretty much an expose. And this is even before he got into the snake charming contest with Santino.